Hey guys, I'm Mark,
I'm Alon.
and welcome to another episode of The Next Man Up. Hey listeners, welcome back to the Next Man Up podcast. We, as always, are excited to have you with us and to spend a few minutes with us today. We got an interesting topic that we're going to tee up. My buddy Alon's over here shaking his head. Dude, it's good to see you again.
Good to see you too, man.
How's your summer going so far?
Oh, it's been beautiful, man.
Yeah?
This whole educator summer, just chilling.
Yeah?
It's been awesome.
You know, I would be lying if I didn't say I've given teachers crap in the past. Right? You get a whole summer off? What? At the same time, you know, educating kids is not just teaching them knowledge anymore.
No, it is not.
Yeah, it's like three months of healing and therapy in order
You're a therapist. You're a guardian.
Yeah.
Like you're an educator.
Right.
You're a conflict resolutionist.
Surrogate parent.
You're everything. 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
365. It feels like 365.
Yeah.
But like when summer hits, man, you just want to sleep.
Yeah.
And so, I'm not a teacher per se, but like I am in a building dealing with conflict from the minute kids walk in to like an hour or two after.
Yeah.
And my
You're
brain is like, So I am welcoming this summer break. I mean, I'm still traveling.
Yeah, you're not sleeping.
Yeah, I'm not
sleeping it away.
I'm traveling, working on music, working on next man up stuff.
Yep.
But it is good to breathe, man.
I hear you. I was texting a high school senior I met a while back today, and I didn't meet him today. I met him a while back. I was texting him today. Anyway, I was asking how his summer was going, and he said something like it's turnt, right? Like, so that's a language that I
Turnt. It's turnt, man. It's turnt.
It was totally turnt. Hold on, I'm getting it here.
You got the definition.
Man, this summer been turnt.
Mark, learning lingo. Yeah. This is awesome.
So it's obviously that's a good thing for him.
Yeah.
So then he asked me how my summer was.
Yeah, how's your summer?
And I'm like, well, summers aren't quite the same after you get out of school. But so far, so good.
You'll learn. You're a senior. You got one more year.
Yeah. It's fun. So before we get into our topic today, I wanted to make sure we let our listeners know or remind our listeners that we've got this dad meetup coming in August on Tuesday the 13th.
Yep.
We're going to be hanging out for a couple hours starting at 7:00 over at Uptown Deli and Brew in Uptown Westerville. So for those of you that are in the Central Ohio area and you're looking to connect with some other dads and just be encouraged, just chill, just come out and have a beverage of choice or a little bit of food. We would love to see you guys there. We're trying something new, trying to create some space for more community, for more conversation, for more connection, and we're hoping that this will be a good place to do it. So we're going to give it a shot, and if you're interested in joining us, we would love to have you there. You can find it on our Facebook event on our page. You can also find the information out on the website on the events page, thenextmanup.com/events. And anyway, if you got questions or if you're curious, just hit us up.
Yeah.
The email is feedback@thenextmanup.com. Lots of different ways to connect with us, but we just wanted to invite you out to just hang with us that night.
And you know, like I'm excited about this because look, I just know that you get off from work and you're feeling crazy, feeling wild. You go home, you know, life doesn't stop,
right?
And so you need to take care of your family. You need to do all these things. You need to love your wife and be there for her because you're partners. And you know, I don't. You know, I'm trying to explain the rigmaroles of life and how crazy it gets. But what I'm trying to get at is that dads, we sometimes end up in silos.
We do.
And, you know, this would be cool just to meet up with some other dads. We can hang out. You know, we can talk shop. We can talk life. We can get to know other people. This place is pretty neat because it's got great food. It's got, like Mark was saying, some great beverages. Got some TVs, dads, for those of you who are into sports, so you won't
miss the game.
You won't miss anything that's happening in August. You know what I'm saying? It's got a great fire pit in the back that they light up and at night, and you can just hang out and just be. So come on out if you're free. August 13th, Tuesday at 7 p.m. Uptown Brewery, Deli and Brewery in Uptown Westerville. Hope to see you there.
Yeah, cool. All the information, all the details, the specifics you can find on the website and the event page. So we'd love to have you join us. Okay.
Let's get it.
Yeah, so part of my summer this year has been enjoying each of my kids making money in the things that they want to do after they move on from school. And all three of them have had opportunities in their own way, which has been really cool. Like as a dad, I sit back and think, oh, that's exciting for them to be able to see the possibility, to see it happening. And it kind of triggered this thought along with a conversation I was having with a college career counselor not too long ago. It triggered this question: when is a good time for boys to start working?
That's a deep question, Mark.
It is a deep question. And it's almost like picking up in chapter 2 or 3 of the book, right? Like it's a question that is easily asked. But I think it would be helpful to even zoom out from there a bit and be like, well, why should kids work? What are the advantages of working, or what are the benefits? Or
that's my first thought.
What are the drawbacks? And what is your philosophy about the childhood period? And where does working rank when it comes to the education and the extracurricular and the spiritual and the downtime? And like, there's no shortage of things for kids to do today, whether that's on the entertainment end or on the learning and development end. There's no shortage of things to do. So like, how do you even feel as a parent? And this is more of a bigger question, not just for you, but I mean, you're willing to you're welcome to take a shot at this. How, as parents, do you think about this question of working for your kids, employment for your kids, and at what age? So you want to dive into this one?
Wow. I don't even know where to begin. It's just funny because I remember my first job actually was, I remember being in a home and it was a corner store, and I would steal.
So wait, that was your first job?
No. Yeah, no.
Okay,
my job. Look, see, I'm going. It's Ocean's 11. I became a grifter. No, I'm just kidding. No, but like I was stealing, in the store owner caught me once stealing some Hostess cupcakes, and he was like, "If you want, you can earn money to like buy the Hostess cupcake instead of stealing it." And so I think it was like it was like $10 a week he would give me if I would sweep the front of the store once a day. Just come in, sweep the front of the store, the sidewalk, keep it clean. Yeah. And he'd come out there and you would like pick up cans and no, you missed some broken glass over here. Come get this and whatever. And did you come in every day? Yes. Here's your $10.
All right.
Okay, now go buy your Hostess cupcake. There was a lot that got taught to me in that. Oh
yeah.
Man,
how old were you?
Man, I want to say, man, I was young. I want to say like maybe 6 or 7. I think it was like 7.
Boy, that is young.
So I was in a foster home, so it was like 7 years old.
Yeah.
And but that was my neighborhood. That's what went on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was normal. Kids, I mean, learned to steal as soon as I could walk. Like, you know what I mean? But the guy was trying to teach me something.
Oh, clearly, yeah.
And the value of like you don't have to lower yourself to thieving. Like, you can actually have a Hostess cupcake, but you need to do it in a better way.
Right. There's an exchange here.
Like, you know what I mean? And you're better than that. Like, you have value in what you're capable of doing. Like, you could sweep and I'll pay you to sweep. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And like, then maybe for like, I forget how much they cost, but back then it was like 50 cents, I think, for a package.
Right. They weren't $10.
They weren't
right?
$10, but I had extra money
right?
in my pocket. And I didn't stay at that foster home for too long and whatever. But I remember that as a kid, and so there's value in that. And then like, I didn't have a job again until, actually in school I sold candy bars and now laters and stuff like that. Yeah. So, I learned that money was somewhat important in this world. If you wanted something, like, you can either steal it or you can, earn it mm-hmm. and then use it to get something. Mm-hmm. And so I'd sell a now later for like a nickel. I'll sell like a Starburst for a nickel. I'd go to the store, to the dollar store, and buy like candies, like cheap candies, and I'll just come in, and people would see me walking and be like, "Alon, you got some of that Chinese bubble gum?" It was like a penny for it, and I'd be like, "Yeah, 2 pennies."
Right, but lessons.
But lessons came out of that, right? And so I'm checking back because I want people to understand where my mindset came from, And so by the time I was 14, I got my real first job, which was being a dishwasher at a Italian restaurant in town.
Okay.
And then I would wash dishes Friday and Saturday night. So my Fridays and Saturdays were like, they were gone, like, and then I would go out with my friends afterwards. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, and so it was like late nights, and I was like, oh, I can't do this. So I got a job at a supermarket, and man, I remember like going in dressed up, presenting myself. I knew how much money I wanted to make. And I knew like what the going rate was for someone being like a bag boy, mm-hmm. And a cashier. And so like I went in and I negotiated.
Wow.
At 14 price.
Well, you've been selling stuff for a while,
yeah,
right? I've
been working, you know what I'm saying? Like, it started early, and it was a weird start, right? It started with me stealing cupcakes and stuff. And a guy saw it, like, he taught me value. He taught me I was better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there was character that started getting built in me.
Yeah.
And this idea that you don't have to work for money, but you can make money work for you, kind of a deal, and so my ethic grew, and so bring that all back. When should we start? Like, well, what do you want to teach your kid? And the question shouldn't be, I think the question should be like how could a job teach that?
Yeah.
How can a job teach that? And so it's like, automatically, like for me, when I think about my kids, I'm like, I was like, oh man, so what this means is when they're 7, it's like, no, it's just like, what am I trying to teach them? Like, what in our house, we started with chores. Mm-hmm. And it was like, knowing that if you did chores, this would happen. It quickly fell apart, man. Like, my kids don't like doing chores. They just don't. And we tried the money thing, and honestly, man, I'm not rich. So some weeks it was like I could afford to give you like allowance, and some weeks I just couldn't afford it. You know what I mean? When they were younger and stuff. But I found other ways to make them work for it. Other ways to get them to understand the value of like work ethic. And that money isn't something that you have to go for. You make money work for you, mm-hmm. And so I don't know. I don't actually. I don't know where I'm going with that, Mark. But like, I just like. I think for me, it goes back to like, what can a job teach? And if a job can teach that for your kid at their age, then by all means, let's roll with it.
Yeah.
But everyone's different.
Right. Right. So I'm recalling my childhood, and I remember having chores as a kid. I remember chore chart, and I vaguely remember allowances, although we didn't have a whole lot of money growing up. And I don't remember what age the allowance started, and I don't remember if the allowance was like, you do these chores for free because you live here and you're part of the team, and then here's a few extras that you can use to earn money, or if it was, I don't remember how my parents did that. But I do remember my first quote unquote official job. I was 13 when I started, and I played baseball all the way into college. And so baseball was just kind of in my blood. And we had a pretty active youth baseball, like a community league program, and they hired kids to be the official scorekeepers.
Oh, that's cool.
For the games.
Yeah.
So I had my scorebook, and I had to ride my bike a couple miles to get to the fields, but I scored for the league a little bit lower than what I was playing in. So I was playing, at the time, I was playing in the 13, 14-year-old league, and I was scoring for the 10, 11, 12-year-old league. Dude, it was great. I felt like I had some independence. I felt like I had some money in my pocket.
Yeah.
I was responsible for somebody else, and people were counting on me to be there.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, I might have even had like keys to the umpire equipment, or I had to like bring the umpire equipment and then transport them back. Maybe that came a little bit later. But I remember carrying that stuff on my back as I'm riding my bike, like I just have fond memories. And the scorekeeping grew to being like a coach / instructor for the younger kids during the summer leagues.
Sure. Yeah.
And then eventually I moved on from those jobs into like I worked for a toy store for a while, which was it was a fun job. But for me, it started when I was 13 years old. And it was just, I don't remember it being like this big surprise. It was like something I wanted to do, something that I was ready to do. Yeah. Like I had graduated to this point, and it just felt like a natural transition. And I just remember feeling like, yeah, this is good. I want to be able to work. I want to be able to make some money. I just want to continue to do this.
Sure, man.
Yeah.
It's like you said something that kind of connected, you said you wanted to do it.
Yeah.
There's this, look, let's just be honest. Like, working is hard. It's hard work.
It's work.
But one thing that I have taught my kids is like, get your foot in the door.
Yeah.
So go work anywhere. But one thing you could do is see if you like it. And if you don't like it, work there for a little bit so you can get some work ethic underneath your belt, right?
And some experience.
Right? And then try a different job.
Yeah.
And see if you like that. And so like the idea is to get you to a place where you're doing something that you like and enjoy as a job.
Yeah.
And maybe possibly if you enjoy it, if it's not that job, is there another job that you can find along the same lines that you enjoy that you can make a career out of because it becomes a passion.
Yeah.
I get a lot of on a kid, like from younger perspective, it's like, oh man, I don't want to work as a dishwasher. It's like, dude, it's a start, man.
Right.
Like, look, man, like it's not like you have like 20 years of experience in this field, and so you can go and say, hey, you got a job as a aerodynamic, space age, like suit maker. Like, I can do that because I got 20. You don't have 20 years of experience. Start somewhere.
But this is a big they generalization statement. They often have this attitude of an entitlement, right?
Yeah.
That's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Well, what you're saying is, I understand.
Totally.
But you got to start somewhere. And typically you're starting at the bottom. So get started.
And so that way, like, you can build up to a place where, you know, you can find a passion and career that works for you, and you can get paid for it.
Yeah.
You know, I think that starts younger though. I think as like our kids are like in the primary age, the elementary age, like there's this like building that needs to happen. I think of going, you need to do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do.
That's right.
You know? And if we can build that, and I'm like, I don't want to pick up my toys. Well, here's the reward that happens when you pick up your toys, right? Like, look, you got a clean room. You're not stepping all over the place. It kind of smells better in here, right? Because you don't got your dirty laundry all over the place. You know, if you don't vacuum, what happens? Like, you leave crumbs and stuff all over the place. Insects can start crawling in your room, and now you got a nice little infestation. Right? Like, you know, it's like, Junior, think about it. Like, you know, it's like, you know,
help me to help you.
Yeah, help me help you. Like, there's good things that happen when you do this. So do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do. And we can build from there. In middle school, it's like, oh, you want that new like Destiny's game for PlayStation? Well, that costs $60.
Right.
If you want that, here's what we can do.
Right.
I'll offer to pay half of it. But if you can find a job that you can do to pay off the other half, I'm golden to go get that game with you.
Yep.
You mean, so it's this idea of like, oh, I don't want to work, but I want this.
Right.
Go for it.
There's some motivation there.
Get a goal. Like, go for the goal. You know, like, it starts young, I think. So that way, when they get to high school and they get to college, there's not this self-entitlement. Like, well, you help curb that, I should say.
Agree.
You know what I mean? I think as parents, we can help curb that. So it's like, yeah, man, I really don't want to do this job, but this is my first job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I can at least get in the door and start planning ahead for what job I really want. You know what I mean? And go do that after I do this. You know?
So I really like how you said, how can employment or jobs for your kids serve a purpose for you as a parent as you're raising your kids?
Yeah.
And I think, you know, my experience I shared, right? Like, it was just natural for me. It was part of the philosophy that my parents used, and it felt like a good next step. I was ready and wanted to go do my thing. That I don't know how common that is today. In fact, what really struck me when I was talking to this college career counselor is I asked him, like, what challenges do you see kids facing as they're preparing to leave college and launch out on their own? And I wasn't quite sure what he would say, but I was really surprised. He's like, look, the kids are risk averse. They're afraid to take a risk. They're afraid, and it's not everybody, right? But like, these are some patterns that he's seeing.
Yeah, it's patterns.
They're afraid that they're going to fail. The whole post-school work environment, marketplace, it's a mystery for them, for many of them, because they've not experienced it.
Yeah.
And the other thing that he said that I thought was interesting is that we culturally have created these overprotective homes and families, and we have not let our kids go out and experience some of this stuff on their own. And as a result, they get into college and they're gripped with fear because they don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
And so I started thinking about, like, well, how can employment, how can jobs for kids, whether they're chores at home or progressing to neighborhood work or progressing then to actual employment with a company, like, how can that help prepare them down the road so that work isn't such a mystery. And navigating, working around and with other adults besides your parents and teachers isn't such a mystery. And how can it foster an environment where kids are willing to take a shot, to take a risk, and not be so afraid of failure, right? All these things started rolling through my mind as he was talking, like, wow, there really is an opportunity to leverage jobs and work to help train up our kids.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think like, we don't have to work as hard at this as we think. Like, there wasn't like, me and my wife didn't sit down and go, here's this planned flow chart. Here's 16 graphs of what's going to happen by the time they reach this age. Look, man, there's no manual for this thing called parenting, right?
Right.
Like, we keep saying that,
right?
Like, it's over and over again. It's so true. But one thing I found for myself, and I let it go with my kids, is I found that I needed to work with who my kids are.
Yeah.
So Aaliyah, my oldest, she I think she got a guitar when she was like 10 or something, singing in choir. And so it just seemed like she was just really artistic when it comes to music. And then it changed. It went into this like, oh, all of a sudden she's interested in like glamour and hair. And so by the time she was in 10th grade, it was like, honey, you're asking these questions. Like, she was asking questions about different styles of haircuts. She was asking about makeup. She was asking about facials and everything, just dealing with like just cosmetology. And so we saw an opportunity there where she had an opportunity to go to the career center and get a degree for cosmetology license, right? So it was like, babe, you might want to think about doing this. And she did. And she graduated high school with her cosmetology license and started cutting hair at a salon. Well, actually, she's worked at like, I think 3 different salons now, cutting hair right out of high school.
Yeah.
For her, it was that path.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Where for me, I didn't do that. I didn't have I didn't go to a career center.
Right.
But I found what I liked to do. And I was like, and who I was and what talents that I had, and I made them work, So it was like someone was like, man, dude, you sound good rapping. And it's like, oh, well, okay. Maybe people will pay for it. It was dancing first. I started dancing for these groups, and it was more just hip hop dance, not just breaking at the time. But like, I got paid for it. But it was a talent. It was a gift that I already had that was in me. You know what I mean? And I just made it come out. And like, going on tour and stuff, it was based off of talent and gifting that I had, and that was my route. I think we need to help our kids discover who they are. Yep. And out of who they are, let's find jobs and such and careers, or not even just career, but just like something that they can do that they can actually get paid for it. Yep. And see what happens. Yep. You know what I mean? And it's basically boiling down to like, we have to know our kids. And that's the part I think, Mark, becomes really hard, because if we're not truly like paying attention to who they are and getting to know them and building that relationship with them, man, we really can't help guide them in that way, and it ends up being like what your friend was talking about, but like we can actually start that at a very young age, in getting to know who they are. And every kid is different. Yeah. But we can help them.
Yeah, agree. Agree. And I think there is significant benefit in encouraging kids to get a job. Yeah. Or to start a business, or to experiment, right, with...
what age? Don't know.
Yeah.
It just depends on the kid.
It does. However, the Department of Labor suggests that 14 is a good minimum age to start working for a company.
Well,
and in different parent forums that I explored leading up to this, 15-ish is about what parents are generally saying, and that could coincide with some maturity, and then at 16 the ability to drive themselves there, or to trust them to navigate transportation to get there. But what you're saying, I really like, which is it doesn't just start then.
No.
You got to back up into those elementary years, those middle school years, and set the foundation to leverage this concept as part of your parenting philosophy. Where does it fit? Yeah. And if it's important, then you make room, right? Instead of 3 sports, you do 2, and you save room for a job as a hypothetical. But it becomes part of the philosophy, part of a tool that you use. And then when it happens, if you have engaged with your kids and you know them, then you'll be able to figure out, even if they don't love the work, this is a better type of fit than this. My oldest has worked at a farm for a number of summers. My middle guy, he has no interest in doing that. It's just not a good fit.
Right?
Right. It's not a good fit. So he's found other work that he can do. Now we gave him a requirement to go work, and this summer we actually gave him an income target. Like, we want you to be able to make this much money, but we didn't just start in May when school's up and go do this. Like, it was not a surprise for him, and we helped him to find work that's good fit for him, even if it's not a career or long term, right?
Yeah.
And certainly I don't have all the answers, but I am inclined to think that we do our kids a disservice if we don't encourage them to go experience the process of earning money and learn the value of money, rather than the value of thievery, or just staying on your backside and
doing nothing,
expecting life to come to you. Yeah. So
interesting.
Anyway, it's a good topic to wrestle with, right? It really absolutely is. And again, we don't presume to have all the answers, but we wanted you dads to hear this topic, to begin thinking about it as your kids are approaching that magical age. What foundation can you lay today so that it's not just a shock, and that you can help guide them in the right direction when they're there. So
coolness.
Yeah.
Well, hey, don't forget August 13th, Tuesday.
Yes, one more time.
7 p.m.
Yes.
Uptown Deli and Brew. We're going to have some fun, dads, and just come and just hang out. So
and
please.
if you're coming, let us know. Mm-hmm. You can sign up on the Facebook page, or you can register on the website, but let us know so we can be looking for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Hope to see you then, dads.
All right, my friend. Good to be with you again.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Adios.
Hey, listeners, thanks for journeying with us on this Next Man Up podcast. We would love to hear from you. Maybe you have a question or an idea, perhaps a topic for us to consider. If that's you and you want to reach out to us, you can get us at feedback@thenextmanup.com. That's feedback@thenextmanup.com. Again, we'd love to hear from you. Until next time, we'll see you later.